advertising.
Hey everybody, I'm Dallin Cuff, part of the Lifetime broadcast team. I want to welcome you to the 2017 NWSL Championship Preview Press Conference. Our first team will be North Carolina Courage. We are joined by head coach Paul Riley, defender and captain Abby Erceg. Both of them won the championship last year as part of the Western New York Flash. This will be their first appearance in the finals as part of the North Carolina Courage. We'll open things up with Coach, your opening thoughts.
Yeah, obviously we're looking forward to it. It's been a long season, 24 games, but two very, very good teams in the final. Been tight both games, two stingiest in the league. And we're excited. I think it's two different philosophies too for both teams. Obviously getting to the final last year, even though we're in a different place, I think we had the experience of being in the final. It was a good experience for us last year. In the semi-final in Portland last year, we played really well in the final. We really didn't show up last year. We kind of escaped in overtime. But this year, I think we're in a better place than we were last year, a little bit healthier than we were last year, and really looking forward to the game.
Yeah, just to add on to that. Sorry, just to add on to that. I'm obviously excited to play Portland. I think the two best teams in the league are out to play for the championship, and you wouldn't want to have it any other way, having the two best teams. Like Paul said, I think it's teams with two great defenses and two great offenses. And I think it'll just come down to who can perform best on the day. Like Paul said, we've played each other once during the season, and I think both times each team had the best of each other. So hopefully it'll just come down to the performance.
And now we'll open up for questions. As you guys formulate a question, I will ask Coach one then. In terms of, you mentioned getting to the final last year. You also obviously beat Portland to get there. Does that experience, does that, we know it plays into Portland's mind from some of the things we've heard this week. Does it play in your guys' thoughts at all that you beat them to get to this point last year?
No, I don't think so. I mean, I think last year we were happy. I think this year we're a little bit more fulfilled. I think last year was about the happiness of getting to the final and almost relief to get to the final. This year, I feel like whether you're number 1 or number 21 on the roster for us, that they're a little bit more fulfilled as players. The development process has gone well. And I just feel like that as they continue to grow, the players and mature, I feel like the group has a long way to go. There's still really a working project at work, and we're excited to keep moving forward with the group. It's still a young group, 24, 25-year-olds mostly. Just a couple of just a little bit older, not too much though, not too much. But it's a great young group and full of energy, and even in practice today, you can see the energy level after 7 months. They're still ready to keep on going. And last year I felt when we announced it was the last practice, you could see like a. This year, I almost feel like they want to keep going, and that's a credit to all of them. They came in fitter this year, a little bit healthier, and they've matured, and you see a great improvement in players like Taylor Smith and Abby Dalkamper, and Lynn Williams is a much better footballer than she was, and Abby Erceg, who's been dynamite this year, McCall's and Boney, who's improved dramatically in the midfield, Sam Mewis, and it can go on and on, Kristen Hamilton. These guys have improved a lot, and we talk about the process a lot in the group and the growth of the group, and we don't think about the Portland game at all last year. It really doesn't even impact anything we do. We've asked 100 times this week, I think, the Shield winner's going to win it and blah, 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 but we haven't discussed it once as a team. We didn't discuss championships or playoffs or anything. We're just here, we're going to enjoy it, and, players looking forward to it.
Dan Loletta.
Paul, can you just expand on what you said earlier about the two different philosophies?
Didn't you pick Chicago to win it this year, Dan? I know you did.
That's accurate.
I might check that one after the. Yeah, I mean, there's two different philosophies for sure. I think, and I wouldn't say we're more direct. I would say, we like to penetrate. We still like to play on the floor, but we're a combination of a possession, penetrative type team. We got a lot of speed, a lot of athleticism. They tend to slow the tempo down, a little bit more conservative, I think, in their approach. And I think that's probably the two differences in the philosophies. For me, too, I don't talk about winning the Shield. I don't talk about, having to win a championship or talk about having to do this or having to do that. And I think there's a little bit more pressure on them to actually win it than there is for us to win it. So, we're just going to enjoy it. And the team seem very relaxed at their practice and much more relaxed than they were this time last year. So we're excited to get it going.
Paul, Sam Mewis has talked about going back to Western New York, how much it mattered to her, that you showed belief in her, told her how much you believed in her potential. Was that a factor of you saying that you didn't think that she did believe in herself at that time?
Yeah, I think she's just young, you know. I think a young player in this league, it's not easy. There's a lot of top players in the league. And, you know, when you go to US camp and Carly Lloyd's there and Alex Morgan's there and Becky's there and all them, you're like, wow, and this is like, I've made it. But I think there's a lot more goes into it. And I think Sam was, you know, I wouldn't say an immature player, but, you know, she would have some times where she just doesn't think that she can get it done, or she's nervous or something. But she's matured amazingly well this year. And I think every aspect of her game has got better. She's a better tackler than she was. She's better box to box. She reads the game better. She's better tactically. I mean, she's a physical presence on the field to begin with. When she starts running with the ball, I mean, she can, you know, beat 3-4 players at a time. She can shoot. She can head a ball. I mean, she's a really, really good all-round player. I always talk about Shannon Box a lot, who I thought was probably the best box-to-box midfielder we've ever had. And I think Sam's in that kind of at that kind of level. And I enjoy coaching. I mean, what she puts in, Kiwi will tell you, she puts a tremendous amount of work in practice. And you know, when you see a young lady like this just wanting to get better, it doesn't matter. It could be just a simple thing like a penalty kick or taking corner kicks. She's always working on some aspect of a game. And it was just the mental part of the game, I think, where for her, because she was so young, that she needed, you know, just a little bit of help with. And I think she's really started to get better at that. And she was nervous last weekend, she told me, you know, and I think that's a good sign. She gets a little bit nervous. And I said to her, you know, in 5 years from now, you're going to laugh at this game. You're going to play a lot bigger games than this. And I think she understands that. And she's a massive part of our team. And her and McCall, I think McCall's been a big influence on her, and Kiwi as well, because they're so good at being professionals, and they're so good, you know, from 8 o'clock in the morning till 4 o'clock in the afternoon. You know, they're professionals. It's not just about 10 o'clock to 11:30, and I think that's what Sam has learned, and that's what Sam has really pushed also to Taylor Smith and to Lynn Williams and Abby Dalkamper too. So Sam's become a leader in the locker room. I mean, she's still a young player, but I think she will captain the national team one day. She's got great leadership qualities and a fantastic young lady.
Coach, you've showed a lot of flexibility this year in the way that you've lined up, and I'm wondering what you see as the keys to containing Portland tomorrow.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, Dabina's a big question mark for tomorrow, so we're going to have to adjust a little bit. And, you know, Kristen Hamilton's a better forward than she is a midfielder, so I think, you know, we might have to tweak it again tomorrow going into the game. But, you know, we've been together a long time. We've switched around a lot this year, from 4-4-2 flat across to a diamond into a box. We played 4-3-3. We played 3 in the back at the beginning of the season. And I think because we've got such a young team, I think it's really important that, you know, you cover all the bases of all these things so they get better at things and they can watch games and they can appreciate Chelsea and they can appreciate Liverpool and they can appreciate Manchester United. And you want the players to learn, and I think that's the most important part of it. And if the process is good, then you get results. And I know it's a cliche and stuff, but I really believe that if you keep doing the right thing and you keep pushing the right buttons and the training is really good and competitive. I mean, we never just have a lazy session. You know, even today before the game, it's quick, it's fast. They put everything into it, and then we walk away and we get on with the next part. But I think the flexibility for us has been good. You know, for other teams, you know, maybe they don't like that, or maybe they like it. I don't know. But you know, when we play Chicago, we know they play in a diamond, so we prepare pretty easily for what's going to happen in the diamond. I think preparing for us is a little bit different. You know, now with Dabina around, Kristen Hamilton's a better forward than she is a midfielder. You know, we might have to tweak, like I said, to take advantage of where we think we got some strengths. But we do have a lot of pace, and you know, we definitely are the faster team, I think, of the two teams. And you know, you have to play to your strengths at the end of the day, and that's what we'll probably do tomorrow.
This question's for Abby and then Paul. Despite the name change and the change in location, there's been a lot of talk all year about the continuity between last year's Flash and this year's Courage. What would you identify as the most significant differences between last year's team and this year's team on the field or even in training? Again, notwithstanding the change in name, the change in locale.
Yeah, I think first thing on the field is just the confidence level of the group. Like we've said previously, the team's been together for 2 years now, so the second season. So the confidence of the group is much higher than last year. And I think, like Paul said, last year we were just happy to get there. We're happy to get through. We're happy to play one more game. Whereas this year, I think the expectation's a little bit higher within the group. And then obviously off the field, the facilities and everything that the club's given us has been great. Absolutely everything we've asked for, they've given us. So we can't complain about that. It's been, you know, the best that we've had.
I would just say that the maturity, again, go back to the maturity of the group, and when you see the players improve like they've improved, and we see McCall Zamboni, who's in the twilight of her career, get better and better week by week, and even today she was running around like a young pup, and to think to yourself that, you know, it was, we called ourselves the Bad News Bears when we started pre-season last year. We struggled to put 4 passes together in a 5v2. So to see the improvement and has been really dramatic. And going to North Carolina, I think for the players, I think if we stayed in Buffalo, it would have been difficult to keep 24, 25-year-olds in Buffalo for long term, maybe for another year. The fact that we're in North Carolina, I think the team can stay together for a long time. I think that was the key for Kansas City. When they won the 2 championships, they kept them around for a long time together. A lot of them were in Philadelphia prior to that, and they've been together probably 6-7 years, and I think it takes 6-7 years to build a really great team. But the work rate and whether you're playing or not playing in the group is just as important to the group. The fan base is, as you know, is built since we got there. We averaged 3,700 in Western New York supposedly, but down here now that we got 8,000, 10,000 last couple of games. Obviously we didn't go in there till February, so thinking about next year and the opportunity to grow more and get more people involved, and with a huge youth club behind us with 14,000, 15,000 kids behind the team, I think is unbelievable opportunity to make a huge difference in the community. And the players, one of the biggest problems I always felt in the women's game is the players just shift around the teams too much, and they don't stay in communities for year after year after year after year. MLS has got the same problem almost too, and you need that. You need the players in the community, you need the same players so people can recognize them and they know they can go talk to them. And it doesn't matter whether you got their autograph 12 times, you're still going to do it the 13th and 14th time. And I think that's the important side for us. We kept 16 players. We've got 14 of them still with us, and the continuous has been critical for us. I feel like those foundations were built last year, and now we've just been able to build on that, and that's why we're able to do things like change formation. Last year we really didn't change too much. We really didn't have the ability to do it, and now I feel like they can do anything, and it's a great group to coach. Great group.
Hi, Paul. I looked at the record that yourself and Mark Parsons have got in the NWSL. I think it's 4 wins apiece and a few ties. What's the most challenging thing about facing a team led by Mark Parsons, and what do you respect most about what he's been able to achieve in his time in the league?
Well, I think for any coach in a league like this, is the man management side's important, the tactical side's important. They're very well organised, tough to break down. It's getting the best out of a lot of players, which I think obviously that's what a coach's job is, to get the best out of players. The other thing that we all run into is when we're coaching in the Olympic year or World Cup year or a non-Olympic year, non-World Cup year, it's a little bit easier during a year like this year and next year when there isn't a big event. Sometimes when there's a big event, it's difficult, and the man management side is even more critical. And the injury, you cross your fingers a little bit every time the players go away. And I think Mark has to deal with that just as any other coaches in the league, is people coming out and people coming in, and the continuity. And you try and build the best foundation you can with the group, and hopefully when they come in, they just stay with it. And if you've got a good mantra and a good locker room and got good leadership in there, I think the players themselves kind of do that. And Kiwi's a brilliant leader, so she's a massive help to us when the US players go away or when the foreign players go away and come back. But I'm sure Mark would agree that that's probably the biggest difficulty in the league, is players coming in and out. And this year was brilliant for us. They were hardly gone, and it was much easier to coach this way. But Portland's well organised. They're going to be tough to break down. They've found a formation that they like, and it's worked really well for them. They found a style that works really well for them, and I think you're just getting better at that kind of style. And there's no question it's going to be a difficult game for us.
Coach, you've been on top for most of the season. Can you address the feeling of being hunted by the rest of the league and culminating into the playoff?
I don't think we've been hunted, to be honest with you. I think I've been surprised to be on top. I mean, I make no bones about it. We didn't expect to be at the top. When we talked in pre-season, it was more about trying to pick up points, trying to get a better away record, be a little bit better defensively, and try and improve in the final third. Last year we scored a lot of goals, but I wouldn't say we improved in the final third. It was a lot of direct stuff over the top, and we played to our strengths, and we got results this year. I think we got a little bit more sophisticated. I'm not sure that's the right word, because we're not as sophisticated as Portland are, but we got a little bit more sophisticated this year. I think the main thing for us was just making things better at what we were. And we ended up, obviously top for I don't know how many weeks of the season. But we never talk about it. And Kiwi will tell you that. We don't talk about being top. We don't talk about the championship. We do not. And people say, oh, you're not the underdog. We're the underdog only for the fact that no matter what I say in that locker room, they're going to approach the game like the underdog, because that's the way the group is. And I mean, I convinced them of that also, but I think they realised that it doesn't matter how long you've been on top. If we were in England right now, we'd be lifting the Premiership, but we're not. And we had 2 big games against Chicago and now against Portland, and that Shield winner thing keeps coming up, and we just keep almost laughing at it, because it just doesn't affect us at all. We're not really worried. It's down to 90 minutes, maybe 120, maybe penalties, and we'll give it everything we've got. And we're a hard-working group, and we are the underdog, and that locker room will be full of underdogs tomorrow, no question about it. And Kiwi will tell you that. And no matter what I say, that's just the way the mentality is going to be for 90 minutes, 120, and penalties.
Final question here, and then we'll break for a photo op.
Pressure. Paul, both these teams have exceptional fullbacks, slightly different roles. How much of a role do you expect those 4 to play, and that space on the wings to play in this game?
Yeah, I mean, even last week with Chicago, obviously with Kesey Short and Gillan playing in those wide areas too. They're both excellent, fullbacks, and Sykes and Kling, and those guys are very, very good too. So I think it's going to be interesting to see the matchup tomorrow. Taylor Smith's had a fabulous season. Jay Hinkle's come into great form, I think, the last 2-3 months, and she's improved defensively on her game. But the fullbacks, I think the midfield will be where the game will be won and lost, but the fullbacks are going to be critical for us for sure. And you know what? All 4 of them are in good form from both teams, so it's exciting. And I just hope the 2 centre backs do a great job, and then we'll be all right. But we have good chemistry in the back. The back 4's been together most of the season. I think one part of it this year compared to last year, we had injuries. I don't think the back 4 went out the same last year, maybe 3 games. So it's a big difference when you put the same lineup out in the back for probably 17, 18 games. I think it makes a massive difference to their continuity and learning from each other. And Abby Dalkamp has become much better this year. Their relationship's amazing, and that helps Taylor Smith. I mean, Taylor Smith's learned a lot from the 2 Abbies, and so has Jay Hinkle defensively. And I mean, you can see Taylor from what she's going away for the national team. She comes back and she's excited to learn. She wants to learn. And this was a kid who was a walk-on, almost last year. She showed up 2 weeks late into camp, and to see it's the same players, crazy, right? I mean, it's just crazy to see the same player be so good. And even across in just little aspects of the game that we told at the beginning of the season that need to get better. And she's got better at those little things, and she keeps plugging along. And she asks questions, and she asks Abby questions, and she just wants to be the best she can possibly be. So she went from, a right winger to a right fullback, and it worked out pretty well for her. You should talk about it because you play with her.
Do you want to add anything, Abby? You good?
Yeah, I mean, I think adding to what Paul said, I think Taylor, I think she played her best game the last game against Chicago, and it's just shown the growth that she's had, not only through this season, but through last season as well. And like Paul said, I think if we're going to compare the team from last year to this year, the only way I can describe last year, it was an absolute shambles. This year we have a little bit more depth to us, a little bit more continuity to the team and the lineup. So I think it's been really good for players like Taylor and players like Jay, obviously, because I think you don't only learn at training, you learn in the games as well. So for them to get the learnings in the games as well has been really good. And then obviously making national team, that's things that we can't always teach them in club environments. So that's been good for them as well, yeah.
Thank you so much. We're going to take a quick break for a photo op. So Coach and Abby will step down here, and then Mark and Christine will come up next. Thorns and Christine Sinclair. This will be Mark's first appearance in the NWSL Championship game as head coach. Christine's second appearance, she was victorious in 2013, winning with the Thorns in the 2013 championship. We'll start things off with Coach Parsons. Just your opening thoughts.
Good afternoon, everyone. Fantastic turnout. And I think a well-deserved turnout is going to be a lot of fantastic players, superb players, young ones, senior ones, at the top of their game in this final. And I think it's going to be a right spectacle for the league. It's been a great season and great journey for us. I think the best part of it is there's been good ups and downs. There's been good challenges. There's been some adversity. There's been games that we've been unhappy with our performance. There's been times where I've got it wrong. And I think through that process, we've got stronger, we've evolved, and we've continued to move forward. We did that last year, and we had the challenge of players in and out. This year, we didn't anticipate having that as much with the injuries, and then obviously the Euros we still did. But what the players, the staff have continued to do is find a way to try and take small steps forward each week. And it's put us in this great position now, which is disappointed from being 2 points off the Shield, but winning a semi-final, the way that Sink and the group played in that game was inspiring. And the group is focused, the group is excited for a great game tomorrow.
Just to echo what Mark said, it's been quite the journey this year, and obviously last year, with the way it ended for us at home in a semifinal, leaving I think it was like 20,000 fans disappointed, and I think our motto this year has been unfinished business, and our goal was to host that playoff game, win it, and then make our way to the championship, and here we are, getting ready to play the Shield winners, probably the most consistent team throughout the course of the season. Both teams are peaking at the right time, and just, excited to get on the field and practice this afternoon and get it going tomorrow.
We'll now open up the questions. I will start one off as you guys raise your hands. Get Jackie or Patrick's attention for a microphone. Coach, you guys have lost once in the last three months. What do you think has been the key to this great run of form you've put together?
It's been a similar pattern than last year. In regards to the more time that these players spend with each other off the field and on the field, the more time we as staff get to work with them and try and continue to grow. We had a plan going into this season, built around the players we had. We adapted, we evolved during this season due to not having everyone available. Sink is one of the very, very best in the world, and we probably isolated her way too much in the first half of the season. And she's played lower before, at international level, sometimes at club level. I think moving her into the position that we did, starting with the Carolina home game, trying to get her more involved. What we've done is we've been better at creating in the central final thirds going forward. And we haven't taken the opportunity away from Sink from getting in the box and doing what she loves to do. Getting Sink there, small other adjustments, and the combination of just being together and the plan on how we look right now, how we're playing. I couldn't have predicted this at the beginning. We've been dealt with some challenges, and through that we've grown to get to a place where we are today. The players are the fittest that they've been. They're the sharpest that they've been. You've seen in the last 3-4 games, teams have started to drop off. We've started strong. We've been fresh and started really strong. And towards the end of games, people have. You look at Orlando, both games we played them. It was the 60, 75th minute they dropped off. Players are doing great, fit, sharp, focused, excited, and it's just been a joy to be a part of this process with them. And the full staff and full group of players are accountable for where we're at right now in this growth. We lean on Sink, we lean on other leaders in this group to constantly help us, support us to direct the team in the right way. And feeling is great right now, and excited. We just had a meeting earlier today, and the players want to play now. They're ready to go, and I'm going to try and try and calm them down this afternoon. Sinky was making fun of me throughout training all day yesterday. She was excited. She just wanted to play, and there's me trying to throw some last-minute tactics in. So we're ready. We're excited.
Yeah.
Mark, a lot of talk about your defense this year and how good it's been. Can you talk about how the return of Catherine Reynolds kind of solidified that and set you on course to, be as good as the defense was?
Yeah, I think number one, we defend as a group, we defend as a team. The evidence of the work that we do in the last game, Rasso was in the 89th, 90th minute, was chasing a ball that was going to give, with 4-1 up, Orlando a goal kick, and she chases it down with everything she's got to kick it out for a throw for Orlando rather than a goal kick. With 4-1 up, it's the 90th minute, and she landed like she always lands, a bit awkwardly, and it just shows the mentality. You can't switch it on or off with how this group loves to defend. It was 3 or 4 games ago, 5 games ago, Sinky was on the edge of our 18 blocking a shot that we've talked about ever since. And you can throw Tobin in that mix the way she pressed from the beginning last week. Lindsay Horan won a header against Orlando. Kennedy was just about to smash it home, and Horan's made a recovery run of 40, 50 yards to head it clear. This team loves to defend, and you look at specifically the backline in AD, start with Kath Reynolds. Kath's a fantastic defender, 1v1 defender, and she loves to defend. The whole group do. Having Catherine back has been huge. I think she's not valued enough in this league and hasn't been. She was a crucial person we had to get to the Thorns. And I admired her when she was at the Flash in the way that she did her job consistently to the highest level, and that's what it takes to defend. The whole backline have been tremendous, and it's been a group and team effort. And then AD behind them lot have. She's been, with the support of Britt Eckerstrom and Nadine Angra, those three make a heck of a team. And that's led to AD playing the best soccer of her career. And then I think the exciting part is AD's nowhere near where she can go. And we know that because we get to see it every day. I'm excited for you guys because you don't have that feeling right now. You haven't seen the progress that we've seen day in, day out. She's nowhere near her ceiling. And I think that's scary for everyone else. It's exciting for us, and I'm excited to continue to see her grow.
Mark, jumping off that, actually, I was going to ask you about AD French. That progress has been visible on the outside. Is there something from the inside that was a specific moment or specific initiative with her? Obviously playing out of the back, but anything you can point to this season that has seen that progress so significant?
I've had a conversation with different players over the last 5 years of being in the league. When things are going well, you've got to take credit for things going well. The player has to take credit. There's things going right. And if things aren't going well, the player has to be accountable to that. The player is the key part. And good environment, bad environment, good coaching, bad coaching, good team, bad team. A player always has control of what they do day in, day out. It doesn't get better than working with Britt and Nadine Angra as a world-class environment. Not often I use the term master coach or expert coach. I'm not. I'm certainly not that, and I will be in 20, 30 years, hopefully. That's the plan. But Nadine Angra is a master coach. She's been doing this for 2 years. Master coach because she's been studying and learning for the last 10 years as a player how to be the best coach. So remove that elite environment away, AD's responsible for having the best possible mindset, growth mentality, wanting to never take a good performance for granted and grow from it and get better. So the key is how she approached this year. She came in, she was at the level she was at, which was a good level, and every day, every week, every month, she's grown. And me and Nadine talk consistently about it, and with the staff, how can we make sure that we maintain the momentum she's got? And the answer kind of often is, stay out the way. She's got this. Her mindset, her mentality, her approach to training. So right now she's flying. And the second that it stops or slows down, we'll be there to remind her, you got yourself in this position of being good. And if it takes a turn, it's up to you again. It starts with individual mindset. She's been fantastic. There's just no way it's slowing down. She's proven that all year, and we're excited for her.
Coach, during the conference call earlier this week, you mentioned that the NWSL was one of the toughest leagues. Kind of describe or kind of give that comparison given your experience. Like, what makes the NWSL the toughest league in your opinion?
It'd be interesting on Sink's opinion on this as well, because she's seen other leagues. She's competed in different leagues in this country and obviously playing on the international stage. For me, the coaching staff across every club, the player pool across every club makes it incredibly challenging and tight and competitive every game. And the most exciting thing about this league, it is fast, it's furious, it's intense, it's physical. And there's just not a single moment in a game, and it's something we've been zooming in on the last month. You can't slow down, you can't take your foot off, because everyone wants to win, everyone will do what it takes. Orlando were 4-1 down, and Marta looked like it was 0-0, and Marta was still trying to make it happen in the 92nd minute with the free kick that Sink was making fun of her on. It's relentless. It's absolutely relentless. So I'm interested in how Sink feels about it compared to the other leagues.
Yeah, I just think it's the competitive nature of every game. I think other leagues around the world, you play that one competitive team, every second month or whatever the case is, where in the NWSL, it's game in, game out, week in, week out. You're in for a fight. And I mean, this year is a perfect example. We lost to Washington, tied Houston, and here we are in the final. Every game is a battle. Every team has world-class players, and I think it's just the way this league is set up that there's a lot more parity in the league, and every team is very equal, and it's just a matter of who's going to bring it on the day.
North Carolina earlier this week had talked a bit about being excited about playing on this pitch, that it plays fast, it's favorable to them. I'm curious to get your thoughts on playing here in the past and how you feel about being at this particular venue for the final.
I think it's an advantage for us that we're here just a couple of weeks ago in regards to being in the area, being at the stadium, the dugout, the bench that we'll sit in. There's a lot of familiarity from just a couple of weeks ago, and we'll reference that when we came here a couple of weeks ago. What an advantage of being here recently and feeling that. The pitch is fantastic, and I think the faster the pitch is, the best for both teams. In the last 4 to 5 weeks, we've been watering that turf non-stop before every single training session, or shall I say the amazing staff at Providence Park have been relentless in getting that field as wet as possible, because the faster and the more furious the game is, it's definitely suits us. But that matches Carolina. You've got two of the most hardworking teams, high energy teams going head to head. So it's a great venue, a great city for two great teams come together.
This will be the final 2 questions.
Mark, what has Allie Long's role in this team has kind of changed? Can you describe kind of what went behind that process and what you see her role being now?
I think you've got to look at every player on this roster and say the same thing about them. There's no way we wouldn't be in the position we are without everyone, including Shim, Cox, and Ellie Boone, who didn't make the roster in the end, but pushed us, trained, and performed the way that they needed to do. Regards to anyone that is or isn't starting tomorrow, the impact that they're going to have, whether they start and come off, the impact when they come off the bench, we have proven has been huge. So regards to her and any other player, to have experience, to have quality, to have footballers that can read the game and adapt, we're in a good position. And we've been put into a good position through performance and, of course, formation change, which has allowed us to play 2 ways now. We still have flipped back into the 4-2-3-1 over the last few weeks during games. That's still an option for us, and I'm sure we'll need that at some point tomorrow, whether we start that way or move into it. I think we're in a position where every player is ready to give what they need to give, and it's no different here. The talent and the experience and ability that she has is only going to help us in tomorrow's game. And one, we wouldn't be here without that, and I don't think we'd be in a position to go and win this game without that. So it's a positive place to be in.
Hi, Mark. You would have spent this week preparing your team for tomorrow's final, but as it's already been said, it's your first championship final, and I think arguably the biggest game of your coaching career. What are the things that you've had to do from a personal level in terms of preparing yourself for what might be ahead of you tomorrow?
I'd be interested if Sink or she can share everyone else's, the players' opinion, if anything has been different from us and the staff. I truly mean this answer. I'm not trying to avoid it or be anything else. Kieran, every single game at this club is a final, is a championship. There is no game where the spotlight's not on. There's no game where there's immense pressure to prepare the team the best way we can and see that team perform. I honestly have not changed anything in my approach, and the staff have agreed in changing how the staff approach it, and I'm sure the players haven't either. There is an excitement and an enthusiasm to get out there on that pitch and get rolling, without a doubt. But yeah, there's working for this club, working for the people in the front office, working for these players every day. It's a privilege, and the number one thing that you know you're signing up for is to be your absolute best every single day. And you know, I got home after last weekend, and you're talking about pressure that I'm under. I got home last weekend, and after a cup of tea and celebrating a little bit, my wife reminded me that we conceded a goal. And if the pressure comes from anywhere, it will be there in my wife, who's not a super soccer fan, but she's a winner as much as anyone else. And yeah, she was pissed that we conceded. She wanted the clean sheet for AD and for the team. And so if there's any pressure, it will be back there, working for this club, these players. Every train, I mean, the training sessions are more intense. I'll be honest, the training sessions are more intense. Because if we don't get it right and we don't set them up to succeed and enjoy training, Sink will be on me for the next 12 hours and demand more. And it's nice when that whistle goes, because I get to run around, scream, dance, shout, and abuse people, and this lot have to go out and get it done. So there's lots of excitement, but no way is there a different approach, and it feels like any other pressured game working for this club.
Thank you very much for both of you, Mark and Christine. Just a reminder, everybody, thank you very much for coming and part of A&E Networks and Lifetime. It's been a fantastic season. We've really enjoyed it. Thank you for everything you guys have done. It'll be a lot of fun. And for those watching on any social media, reminder, tomorrow coverage starts at 4:30 on Lifetime. Thanks a lot. We'll see you tomorrow.
Thank you. Can we take a moment?
No.
Can we take a moment to appreciate Dalen's amazing clothing style? Consistently, week in, week out.
I love the coaches in this league, by the way. Fantastic.